Welcome back. Welcome back to this one. Today I am excited because of a guest that I have that I'm yet to bring up. When I met this guest, I remember one thing that was about her that I found very empowering. She's someone who's been in church most of her life and she's served. And she's been this woman in church who had it all figured out, at least according to everybody else. She had it all figured out. But then on the inside, she had like silent tears. She knew she didn't have it all together. But on the outside, everyone was reaching out to her for answers. And I felt like this is a perfect example of how you can stand tall, help everyone, save everyone, but deep on the inside, you know that you're crying, you know that things are not going well, you know that the self-talk that is happening for you is not okay. You know that when you wake up in the middle of the night, you want to cry because you don't like the life and you don't like the appearances and you don't like keeping up with that thing of, oh my God, everyone thinks I'm successful or I'm happy, but I know that I'm not. And so I wanted to have this conversation with her because really the work she does is very beautiful. And she helps Christian women literally peel off the masks and step into their true identity. I thought she should be perfect to bring on. And I thought that most people would resonate with her because of her life, what she's been through, and what she really, really stands for. Latorcha, welcome to the world's best kept secret. First of all, I'm really excited to be with you and having this conversation today.
Yes, thank you so much for the interview. I'm excited about what we're about to talk about because, as you said, there's so many women that this is going to resonate with.
Yes, yes. So before we even dive in, Latorcha Polati is a retired Army veteran, 23 years of service as a veteran. She's now dedicated to empowering women, Christian women, as a certified Christian life coach, as a certified Christian life coach, and a spiritual coach who is certified as well. She also calls herself a determination coach. Who knew? Like, I didn't even know there was something like determination coach until I met this speaker. Latorcha helps women overcome low self-esteem, imposter syndrome, all mainly that come from unhealed trauma. And really, she helps them remove those masks that keep you from breathing and hide your true identity for the longest time. Through her programs, both one-on-one and in group containers, she guides these women to amplify their voice, overcome the wounds that they've carried for the longest time, and confidently step into the version of them that God meant for them in the first place when they were created and put on this planet. Latorcha, what did I miss there that is so key about the work you do that people need to hear it right now?
One of the things is that most women who have the mask on are surviving. And the removal of the mask allows them to thrive, because if you take time and look at the mask, one thing about the mask is you will always have eyes cut in the mask so that you can see. So you are all able to see everything that's around you. And the masks always have the holes in the nose, just enough for you to breathe so you can survive, but not thrive. But one of the things that a mask never has is an opening in the mouth part. And so many women who have the mask have a silent cry. They don't have a way to amplify their voice. They don't have a way to speak out and say the things that are hurting them because they've been told so many years that, be seen and not heard.
I like that mask syndrome. You have enough holes to just breathe and stay alive, but not enough to be heard, to speak up, and to thrive. I love that analogy. I love that analogy. I also would love to dive into your story. How did we get here, Latorcha? Walk us through that journey.
For so many years, I had the mask. So I was a Christian woman. loving God, sold out to God, but I was suicidal. And so I had the mask on, and everyone who saw me as this powerful woman. I could walk into any room and command respect. I can walk into any room, and in the military, I was also doing speaking and talking to the people, giving instructions. I was a leader in the military, but behind the mask, I was dying. And it was so hard to carry the mask. And so I understand the women who have the mask on because for so many years I wore it. For so many years I survived looking out at the life that I see everybody else that I wanted but afraid. And one of the biggest things for me is when the mask started slipping. Would see me for being a fraud because everyone saw me as this powerful woman when behind the mask I was so broken, so hurt, so lost, so confused. I didn't even know who I was. I knew who everybody wanted me to be. So I could show up as my daughter's mom. I could show up as my soldier's leader. I can show up as NCO in the military, but I didn't know how to be Latorcha.
How did that then change? Like, what happened? The time when you said enough is enough? The mask has to go.
Starting to ricochet within myself, causing internal damage to me.
The internet seems to be in and out, so I will try. But the internet seems to be in and out, so I don't know. We'll try and see what we can capture. Carry on.
And so my silent cries ricocheted on the inside of me, causing me to become shattered on the inside. The brokenness, the weight, and then because of that, the weight of the mask became too heavy. That I could no longer carry it. I could no longer walk around. And it wasn't until I realized that something had to change. It was do or die.
What had happened though? What was the do or die moment? I'm just curious. What was the do or die moment when you were like, no, Latorcha, it's time?
So I ended up losing my job. I ended up getting to a place where I was living in Italy at the time. And so I had the mask on and I was being everything for everybody. And they called me in one day and fired me on the spot.
Wow.
And in Italy, it was not something that that I could just go to another job. That means I lost my ability to be there with my husband. I lost my ability to be able to have a car, a vehicle to get around. I lost the house that the government was paying for. And I got down to ground zero.
Wow.
And that's when I realized that I didn't even know who I was to even present myself to come forth and get any help or reposition myself because I did not have an idea of who I was.
That's a good one. I'm just wondering though, all those years when you had the house, the money, the car, everything, did you see it? Did you see the mask? Do you know that you were living a life that wasn't true? Or you just didn't know what you didn't know?
No, I knew that I was carrying the mask because every day I felt I was afraid that the mask would fall off. So but for the whole time, I knew that I was living so-called lie because I didn't have a voice. Growing up as a child, my mom always said, be seen and not heard. And then when I started, and it seemed like every time that I would get the courage to speak up, there was such a backlash that caused me to shut down again. And so I became what everybody wanted me to become because I didn't want to continue to have the backlash. I didn't want to have the looks, the stares. And so I became what everybody wanted me to be, but I never became the person God intended me to be.
Wow. Wow. So now you're at rock bottom and you decide, you know what? It's a do or die. I gotta get up from there. Take us from there. Then what happened? How did you get out of that?
It's lost, trying to grab hold of anything that would give me some type of control. And in that search, I ran
Is
upon like
there is there like another place in the house where we can sit? I feel like I don't know if they'll be able to capture this. It's like in, out, and your image is totally like, I don't know. Is there another part of the house that you normally walk?
this is actually the best part. I could try to reposition, but I don't.
Okay, it'll be a challenge. They'll probably try and cut it and bring it together, but we seem to be losing parts and bits, which can be a challenge because we need the message. Let's continue. We'll see. If it doesn't come out well,
What I can do is I will probably have to go get like an amplifier, but it won't be today to be able to push my image because my house is older.
Okay, let's try and go through and then we'll see. If it works, it works. If it doesn't work, then we'll plan for another one. Yeah, I was asking about your process of moving from rock bottom to, getting yourself back up, releasing the masks and all of those things. Take us on that journey.
Well, my journey had to be, I had to acknowledge it.
Mm,
Like I never acknowledged it. I never said it out loud. I never allowed myself to say, I'm broken. I
mm,
need help. I
mm,
need assistance. Like I said, of course, as an African American woman, we've always, well, for my family, there was no such thing as therapy. There was no such thing as getting help or a life coach. It
mm,
was, listen, you just keep going until you just keep moving no matter what. And so
mm,
I realized that I had to acknowledge that I was in the place that I was in, a
mm,
place of brokenness, a place of sadness, a place of being suicidal.
mm,
And like I said, I was a woman that could pray for people and things would happen. I was a woman that would walk in and could be able to talk to people, but yet I was suicidal in church. And my silent cries that I sent out never was picked up in church.
mm,
For me, it was as if many people saw that I had the outward together. And so
mm,
they shunned me. They treated me bad because I never fit in a clique. And it's sad to say for a church, but no one came alongside of me to help me with my silent cry.
mm, They probably thought you were doing really well.
Yeah, because I had it together. I had the mask. Now I had the mask together. I had it so well fitted, but when it started slipping, I did not know what to do. When the one thing that I had to do, I had to now reveal the lie. Like I had to tell myself, what is the lie that I've been telling myself about me? What
Mm,
is the lie that I have been believing that other people have even put in my story? Because when I started rewriting my story, I realized that it was so many um, lies that have been put in from other people and myself. And
mm,
so I was living a lie that I had wrote daily for myself.
mm,
So I had to learn how to rewrite my story. And that's how my process started. I acknowledged that I was broken. I wrote the story the way it was at that moment. And then
mm,
I stepped back and I looked at my story and I was able to now rewrite it the way that God says that I'm supposed to be, the way God is saying that I'm supposed to live and what I'm supposed to have and the freedom that I'm supposed to move in. And then I had to forgive myself
mm,
and forgive others, the ones who lied to me. And that's what got me into inner healing because I
mm,
realized that in inner healing, in letting go of all the stuff that I was carrying on the inside, I was opening myself up to have a freedom that I've never had before.
mm, mm.
And then I trusted the process.
Mm. So number one is acknowledgement. You acknowledge yourself. You know what?
Mhm.
I need help. Talk about African women and thinking they are like Iron Man or something. You couldn't tell my sisters today to get a marriage coach or a coach for anything. They think they're like iron ladies. So I really like understand that fact. You now get to terms with your story. Okay, like what story am I telling myself? And you're like,
Mhm.
I need to rewrite this story. Why did God want for me when He created me? What is the story that God wanted me to have? And three is I need to forgive myself. I need to let go of anyone I think has been responsible for this. And that is how I'm going to heal. So now you do inner healing. And then after that, what else?
And then I just trust the process because I realize that my process is someone else right to get through. So in my process, I give someone permission and a pathway to now walk into freedom.
So is this your exact signature process, or do you have some tweaks and additions to it? I know you have a similar process right now that you use to help women. Is this the process? Acknowledge, then deal with the story, like acknowledge the one you have, rewriting your story, the one that you actually want. Get into that forgiveness mode, have empathy on yourself and forgive everyone that was involved in those masks. Then that is when you can open yourself to heal. So inner healing and trusting that that's a process that works. Is that your process today, or is there more to the process today that you use to help women?
Well, that's my skeleton process. But with each woman, I've learned that each woman is different. Even though they have the same process, they have to rewrite the story. It's not, my program is not a cookie cutter program. And so when I sit down with the person, we have the process and the steps, but I also allow them to tell me their story. So by me asking them, I would ask them a simple question is, what is the title of your story right now? And from that title that they give me of that story, we can now lay out the plans of where the lies are in the story. We can pinpoint the lies in the story, and then now we can revamp the story. We can rewrite the story in a way that they understand that I don't have to walk in shame. I don't have to walk in disappointment. I don't have to walk in anger and bitterness, that I can walk in freedom in loving myself and loving others.
What is the hardest part? I know you've been doing this since COVID, right?
Yes.
What is the hardest part of this transformation? What is the hardest part of dropping these masks and getting free, whatever that looks like for people?
The hardest part is I'm working with women that are faith-based, that are Christians, that love the Lord. And so the hardest part is getting them to acknowledge that I am not whole. I have a problem, because they're afraid of what others are going to think about them. They're afraid of being exposed. They're afraid that someone is going to really see that, that I'm not the person that I'm portraying myself to be. And so the biggest part is getting them to realize that this is a safe place, that you can walk in with your mask with me, but I will help you take it off during our session. But before I allow you to leave, I will help you put your mask on until you feel comfortable enough to say, I no longer want the mask.
That part was so good when you said it, because I can imagine if I am first lady, or what do they call the women in church? Pastor's wife. Is it first lady or something else?
First lady, yes.
If I am first lady and we have 1 million believers and people hold me to that standard, I got it. I'm praying for them, they're healing. But inside, things are dark. Right. I had this realization as you were talking, and when we previously met, that man, it can be so hard to not be first lady who has it all together. And I was just wondering how they come to you, take off every mask, and then tomorrow go to church. I was like having a very tough time reconciling these two until you said, we're going to take off a mask, go through the session, and put it back on. You go to church and do your thing until you feel like you no longer need the mask. That was so good. How do I do it though I not feel like I am living a double life?
Because you have to realize that we all had a period of time where the mask became real. We had a period of time where either we was neglected or overlooked or rejected. And so we had to put the smile on because, you know, you've always told, never let them see you sweat. Never let them see you have a bad moment. Never let them see the real you. You have to put forth the face. You have to just make it happen. Do what you have to do. And so, you know, I think so many women have been handed the mask, excuse me, has been handed the mask at a young age that it becomes such a part of their life that they don't even realize it until the heaviness of the mask is there.
I like this. I like this. I like this. Tell us a little bit of your personal experience in church, because I know out there can be easier than if you're in church. And the believers have their own rules of how you should show up, and the church has its rules. And I feel like there's a heavier expectation in church than there is outside of church. I wanted you to share that because I know that the women in church who are probably having these leadership roles feel like they have that obligation to hold on to whatever identity they have. Give us a little bit of your experience in church and take us there, because I want that woman to go, it's okay not to be this person.
So many women in the church are, like you said, on leadership roles. And so they have wrapped our life around that role. You know, that's one more thing. That's one more title that I've taken on. You know, I'm either the first lady, or I'm the minister, or I'm the usher leader, or I'm the praise and worship leader. So now I have that role, and I have to now, because church doesn't give you a place, even though it's a place of healing, even though we know that people that's in church are, you know, need healing, need help, need to be delivered, that we're not perfect. We know that we have our issues, we have our things, but unfortunately in church, they don't see that. What they see is if you are on the pulpit, or if you are sitting on the first row, or if you are doing praise and worship, then your life has to be perfect. So now we have to portray that this is how it is. So I have to walk with my head up. I have to smile all the time. I have to say that I'm blessed and highly favored when really I'm suicidal and I want to kill myself. See, there was times where so I'm going to talk about me in church. I knew the perfect moment to stand up and say hallelujah. I knew how to clap my hands. I knew when the right time to stand up and point at the preacher. But yet the whole time that I'm doing all of that, when I sat back down in my seat after the hallelujahs, after the amen, when I now drifted away from what the preacher was talking about, I'm sitting there contemplating how to commit suicide. How do I do it in such a way that my daughter will be taken care of? How do I do it in such a way that my family will be able to overcome? And you know, I had all the stories that, okay, well, I have this money set aside and my daughter, and I'm afraid to tell anyone. And so I went outside of church. So let me tell you this story. I went outside of church and I went to a chaplain. And see, as a child, I was molested as a child. And so when I had my daughter, who is a splitting image of me, she looked like she's just me. I call her my mini me. So growing up, as she was growing up, I could see the little girl that never healed in me. And I could not embrace my own child because she reminded me so much of the trauma that I had as a young child. And I went to a chaplain because I wanted to be able to be the mother for my daughter. So I didn't go to the pastor of the church because I was afraid of what they would say. So I went to a chaplain in the military behind closed doors, and I poured my heart out to him. And I told him I love my daughter, but I see her as the version of me that was molested. So I don't know how to embrace her because I didn't know how to embrace the broken part of me. And I just wanted help because I wanted to be the perfect mom. And this man looked at me and said, "How dare you? You are supposed to be a mother." So he chastised me so bad that I felt so belittled. I felt like I felt worthless as a mother. I felt broken as a Christian. Like that conversation, which he should have picked out molestation, brokenness, hurting, need help. But instead he looked at lack of compassion, lack of doing these things. And so I made a vow that day that if anybody come to me with the same issues that I had, I would be able to say, it's okay. I will be able to say, let's walk together down this process. And so that was also a point that said, Lord, I can no longer walk in this broken state, because how many women is feeling the same way that I'm feeling?
That's really good. That's really good. I am wondering, when women come to you today, what do they externally know is the problem? Because you probably didn't always know that that childhood trauma was coming up or was within you until you saw your daughter and she kept triggering that, or she kept bringing that up in your mind. So I'm just wondering, if I am listening in and going, I'm first lady and I struggle, what are some of the signs that I may be perfect for the work you do?
Well, for me, what I've learned is, I've learned to hear the silent cries of the women. And so they don't have to tell me. So I can walk into a church, I can walk into the grocery store, I can walk and I can hear the silent cries of the women. And so many of them don't even realize that they have sent out a beacon that says, I need help. Like a beacon saying, please, somebody just come help me. And so what I've learned, that even the first ladies, there's a way that they carry themselves. So for instance, the cry may be, I will hug you a little longer than I would normally hug anyone else. But if you don't realize that when you hug someone and they don't want to let go of you, it's because they have that silent cry. They're crying out for help. So it's not that they just want to embrace you longer. They just want the strength to be able to move forward. It may be in, they would reach out and grab your hand, not because you're about to pray, just to squeeze your hand and let you know, I need some help. So it's the nonverbal that I pick up on more so than the verbal. Well, what I've learned is just give them a place. Just give them a place to be. Like there's been times that I've walked up to someone at the grocery store, not that I was giving them my business card, not that I was saying, here, let me help you, but I would just walk up and say, can I give you a hug? Can I just give you a hug? Or I would walk past them and I would smile and say, you are beautiful. And in that moment, there's a break. Now, if our paths cross again, or if they see me somewhere else, then they'll say, hey, can I talk to you? Hey, can I just, can we go out to lunch, or can we go out to breakfast? Can we do something? Because they know that something broke in that moment. They were seen for the first time. They was heard for the first time. And so, and in church, normally within church, most people, especially here in Danville where I am, everyone knows everybody. And so it's nothing to say, well, I'm 6'2". So do anybody know the 6'2" minister or the tall female? Because that's how they really recognize me. But it's in that being able to see them. And so even with the first ladies, when you allow them to be seen, that they will come and to you for help. They will come to you maybe just to spend time with you, or maybe and that's when I can let them know, listen, we can go deeper. Now I can be the minister, but for me to walk you through the inner healing, for me to walk you through it, and don't get me wrong, I will sit there and I will pray and I will intercede and I will do all the things that I do as a minister. But when it comes to the life coach part of it, there has to be that one-on-one time that we can sit down and walk through the inner healing, walk through just the talking, the questions, the answers to be able to see the bigger picture.
Are you actively doing church work right now?
Yes.
What do you do in church? That would be very helpful for a Christian woman who is saying, but yeah, like, what do you do in
Well,
church?
right now I minister in church. I am part of a ministry team. I'm the lead on the team. Um, I assist pastors, and it's so funny because I find myself assisting pastors that and so in ministry, I work in helps. So I'm there to help. What do you need me to do? How can I assist you? And I'm not one that's, oh, I just have to be at my church. If there's any church that said, I need some help, can you help me with this? Do you know about this? I don't see myself as just in the four walls. I go out to the ministers. And so, yes, I preach, I teach, I do Bible study, I do a weekly live where I sit down and bridge the gap between life and church.
Hmm. 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 I like this because God is there. I believe in God, but also there's a place for real life. And we
Right.
need to be able to bring God in real life and say, God, so practically, how do we move through this? Practically,
Mhm.
how do I stop committing suicide? I love this. I'm just wondering because at the end of this, I want to ask the woman listening in to share this with a beautiful woman who may find it helpful. But I don't know because most of them look really good on the outside. We don't see the inside. Like if
Mhm.
I look around my life, I see all the women standing tall, my
Mhm.
sisters, they stand tall and they do things. But I know that maybe inside there is some things that may be going, but I don't know because they really show up at their best. So how do we pick the clues or the clues or how do you pick a hint that this person could use this message, could find peace and could find a safe place in Latorcha as she does it online as well. How do we pick up on, my friend could probably need somehow because we don't know. They try their best not to let us in.
Right. And most of the time it's just being observant.
Mm.
They will keep the smile up until they think no one's looking.
Mm.
So it may be a split second. It may be just for a moment, but the
Mm.
smile will drop long enough for them to recompose themselves. And so
Mm.
no matter how strong a woman they are, there's
Mm.
going to be periods in the strength that they're going to find a moment of sadness,
Mm.
or they take a deep breath when nothing is going on, or you find them walking and they shake their head but they're not talking or they're not doing anything because they're now trying to reposition their mind from what they're thinking about. And so
Mm.
it's the nonverbal thing. So when they're walking in and you would see them drop their head and then they realize it and then they'll lift it back up.
Mm.
Or they would stop and they would put their hands on the side of their face and as if they're telling themselves it's okay.
Mm.
So
Now
those are
I
some.
now I see. I've interacted with people who did that, or from out of nowhere they were like, they breathed in, and I'm like, everything okay? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, okay. Like I was like, they'll do something, and you'll be like, okay, what was that about? Wow. Tell us more about the abilities, capacities, how you support people at the moment.
So I the way that I support the women, I walk alongside of them
Hmm.
because I know my process that I had to go through.
Hmm.
Because I went through my process, now I can give them a plan of escape
Hmm.
because my process is their plan of escape
Hmm.
into the freedom that they need. And so with me walking alongside of them, I can see what level of the process that they're in that I had to go through.
Hmm.
And so I know if they're just starting off, I know if they've been doing a little reading or listening to podcasts, or just meditating, I can see where they are in the process of where I went through. And so I can now do the plan from that part.
I love it. So you went through the pain so they didn't have to. You became suicidal so they don't have to. Because all
Right.
those are levels. Maybe level 1 is you don't really like yourself. And level 2 is probably you're trying to do everything to make up for that. And maybe level 3 is something. And maybe level 10 is, okay, now you're suicidal. I wonder though, I do have a question which looks like taking you back. I wonder though, what are the types of masks people wear? Maybe I have some and I don't know. What are the types of masks we can put on over time? You know, life is life. It happens to us sometimes. And who knows what mask one might be carrying? I don't even know how many of them there are and how to kind of think through them.
Right. I don't think is the different. So the mask, what, if you saw my house, I have masks everywhere. But there's something about masks where you have a place on the inside that there's places where you can carve your name. So the person who made the mask, there's a place where they can carve their name in the mask. And I think that's what people over time, it may be they may have a position where only one side of their face is covered, and they just keep adding to the mask until it become a full fitted mask. So they start off with maybe I just need rosy cheeks, or I just may need my eyes to look a certain way, or I may need my smile to be a certain way, because as a child, I was told that my smile is ugly. So I may have to put on a certain smile because I don't want them to see that smile that everyone has said about me. And so but the mask really is the rejection, the regrets, the shame, the disappointment, the not feeling worthy. So these are the masks that they put on, and it becomes layers and layers and layers until that's what makes it become heavy, because they keep adding to the pain, the brokenness, the rejection, the not feeling good enough. And then they present themselves, and then they worry about imposter syndrome, because everybody see me like this. Everybody see me as a powerful woman. Everybody see me as a manager, as a leader. But I'm broken on the inside. I put my face on for everyone else, and then I walk in behind closed doors at night and I cry myself to sleep. I have to redo my makeup in the morning 2 or 3 times because I've cried myself so much before it's time for me to walk out the door.
Wow. I'm looking at the normal world, and because I haven't been in church, like okay, I go to church, but I'm not like, we don't have like that church pastor relationship of like we stay in church forever. So I look at the way this shows up, and maybe it started with a job, and then you got obsessed with being promoted and getting a better job and a better job. And then maybe that didn't do it. And now you said, okay, I need to marry maybe the richest person in the planet or whatever, married the pastor, who knows. And then you realize that wasn't enough. And then you said, no, maybe if I have 5 beautiful kids, that will do the job. The kids came and it didn't work. You now decided if you ate everything you could, that would help. It didn't. You just decided you wanted a bigger house. That didn't do the job. Bigger car didn't do the job. Maybe you're now on your way to buying the plane, who knows? Or now you're now really addicted to shopping. I can see like how someone, or maybe it's alcohol, or maybe it is whatever. I can see what the mask is. You try to do things to fill that gap. And until you realize it's not working.
Right. So there's always a void. So, like you said, you're not always, like many women, I've talked to women who's in church and women who's not in church. And so my niche is Christian women, but all women carry a silent cry. All women carry the mask because they have had something in their life that has been a void, and they don't know how to fill it. They don't know how to feel whole. They don't know which way to go to be themselves, because they've always been told, well, listen, I have to go to work as your mom. I need you to take care of the children. So I need you to be the mom in the house. I need you to be the big sister in the house. So the titles have been placed on, the mask have been placed on from a childhood. And so we know that if I don't have an identity, now I'm the second mom. Now I am the big sister. Then you get married, and now you're no longer, now I'm my husband's wife. Then I have children. Now I'm my children's mom. Then I go to work, and now I'm the supervisor. But I never knew who Latorcha was. Somehow in the shuffle, Latorcha never became known. I never had time to sit with me. I never had time to realize my likes and my dislikes, what I don't like to do. And it's crazy because I had to learn, like I had to go out and do things because I didn't know who I was. So I was like, well, do I like hiking? Let me see. Let's go hiking. And then I realized I hate hiking. So I had to learn what I liked, not what everybody else, because I knew what everybody else. I knew my daughter's favorite color. I knew my husband's favorite color. I knew my friend's favorite color. I knew everybody's stuff except for mine.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So you felt like you were living everyone else's life, but not yours.
Yes.
Wow.
I was living up to the titles, but I never lived up to the name.
That is so big. Big sister, wife, first lady, leader, grandmother, who knows what else.
Yes.
Wow. I love where we've landed with this. So if I was thinking, you know what, I am ready to work with you in any of the capacities that I can, whether that's one-on-one, whether that's group, whether that's, small round table, I'm ready for the next step. What should they do to take that first step of faith?
Book a clarity call with me. And in the clarity call, we will sit down for 15 to 30 minutes. And I would just let you, and there would be, of course, the questions, tell me who you are, how do you feel? And in the talking, I would ask, what is your story? Like, what is the title of your story? And then we will be able from there to lay out, because once they realized that I could hear the silent cry, once they realized that I could hear what's the unspoken things, that way, then we can go into understanding that this is a safe place.
I love that.
And it's funny because I think it's many people in churches who are chasing the prophets. And they're not so much chasing the prophets because they just want to be seen. They want to know that God sees them. They want to know that God has heard their cry behind closed doors. And so when they walk to the prophet is able to reveal to them what they've said to the Lord, or reveal to them the question that they've been asking God for. And so in that moment, they feel validated, they feel seen, they feel heard. And I say it that way because, but yet they still walk out. They know that God hears them. They know that they have the answer, but then they walk out and they still don't feel worthy enough for the call. They don't feel worthy enough to be embraced. Because they are still dealing with the brokenness. And church have a way of telling you, run to the altar, cry out to the Lord, spin around, and there's gonna be a change. But yet after all that crying and hollering and praying, I walk out the door and I'm still broken. And so reality sets in, and then I get to the place where, God, do you even love me? Do people even know me? Like, why am I still in this broken state? Why am I still in this stuck state? And so that's why the inner healing has to happen. That's why the wholeness have to come. Even the woman with the issue of blood, she never got she got healed the moment she touched him. But she didn't become whole until she told him the whole story. And then he called her. She went from the woman with no name to daughter. And then from daughter to being healed, to being whole.
I love this one. I love the beauty of the virtual space and what it can do for people, because you can have your silent private lessons, and you can go to church and just be the person that you are. Nobody ever has to know that you're Latorcha's glove. I love
Right.
the simplicity and the privacy that really the virtual coaching mentorship space brings to us. I personally love it. Like, I would never have met you if it wasn't for that. So it's really a beautiful place that I love. I love. I love. Oh, as we're closing down, everything that Atasha has talked about will be rightfully in the comment section. So if you're watching on a podcast platform or video format, simply check the notes. There will be everything: how to book a call, how to follow her on social media, how to access anything and everything that we think you might want to start from. It is totally fine to start from wherever, maybe you feel like your next best step is to follow her on social media, and that's fine. Maybe you feel like it's time to book that call. That's fine. Maybe you feel like your best next step is to get on her newsletter, and that's totally fine. Start wherever you're at, and slowly move your way up. And if you are thinking, oh, I like the subject, and I don't know if she's my coach or not, keep coming back. There will be more experts and more experts and more experts, and maybe one person will speak to you. But I sincerely want to appreciate you and celebrate you for spending the time with us when you could have been doing 100 other things, including leading and showing up and supporting everyone that you support. So I really appreciate you for being on the channel. Latorcha, what would be your final words of wisdom for the beautiful women that are listening in?
My final words would be, it's okay not to be okay. But it's not okay to stay in that place of not being okay. In other words, yes, you may be feeling or going through something right now that you just don't understand. And it's okay for you to have that feeling. But it's okay for you to now step into the wholeness, the fullness, the place of thriving and not just surviving in your life.
I don't know if I have anything to add to that, but I sincerely believe that everyone was created in God's image, and God created you to thrive. And it may have been a rough path, it might have been ups and downs, it might have been beyond what we all imagined, but there are answers. The same God who put you through that puts you through people like Latorcha who now have the answers, and they're saying, I'm here to hold your hand. I think being in a bad place is one thing, but choosing to stay there is a different choice. Ultimately, I really think that it's your choice. Either get up or not. But whenever you are ready, there's people that have been there, so you didn't have to stay there. And Latorcha is one of them. Thank you for today. Thank you for being a part of the world's best kept secret community. Please get involved. Please review, rate, follow, subscribe, all the amazing things. And if there's one beautiful woman that you know needs help, one beautiful woman that you know could use some sort of support, if there's one beautiful woman that you believe has gone through a lot, but they still want to be strong on the outside, but a part of you feels, could she be the person that you were talking about? All you have to do is share this episode with them and say, I thought that was amazing. Maybe you should watch it. And just like that, you can give another woman a chance to change their life. I believe that there is a lot of things we can do, but the most powerful thing is helping another woman, another human being, step up for themselves and change their life. I don't know that there is anything we can do as human beings to help another human being other than saying, I saw something here, I think it may be good for you. I think you might like it. That's all we can do. There's no marketing which is gonna go beyond you sharing this message. And I've been in marketing for the longest time, for 10 years now. There's no effective marketing that goes beyond you deciding that there is a woman you want to share this message with. None. she shared it, and she shared it, and the person she shared it with shared it. That is it. That is all we need to get Latorcha in front of everyone that she's called to serve. So this is my calling. This is my call on you to share this message with just one person, just one that you believe will benefit from it. Until next time, my friend, thank you for today. I'll talk to you very soon. That is it, my friend. To listen to more exclusive interviews like this one, simply go to the World's Best Kept Secret podcast.com and select interviews based on preferred topic.